That's my resting face. Yes, the Anna Curtis.
Yeah. Oh,
I think that. The only thing missing is the silver car.
discretion is the better part about it.
Yeah, I know. Wow. Sweater vest like last time I called that up.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for saying it. I was gonna say it. I don't care. That's very good.
Yeah.
Just minimize that, if you don't want that.
It's looking weird tonight.
That's fine, just minimize that.
There's nothing to make like it.
Yeah, it is all the way top.
Sure.
All the way top right.
There. There we go.
Then you maximize that.
Okay.
Michael, did you take notes?
I did. Yes.
Please don't go. You need to hear this.
Yes.
It may need to. Some more. Guys ready? 7 o'clock, it's time to start our council meeting tonight. Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Hauser,
Here.
Mr. Labutus.
Here.
Mr. Lang.
Here.
Mr. Marmy,
Present.
Mr. Neely,
Here.
Mr. Rath,
Here.
Mr. Ryan,
Here.
Mr. Barker.
Here.
Ms. Blind. Present. Mr. Shute.
Present. We're all here tonight. We stand for the invocation by Miss Blind.
Lord, we thank you for this season, God. We thank you for the opportunity to see things anew. Lord, we ask during this present time, God, for protection for our safety forces as they are always diligent. And so we thank you in advance for our street crews and the job that they're doing out there. Please protect everyone and guard our streets, Father. And we ask for wisdom tonight as we pursue, Lord, what your mind may be concerning these legislative opportunities we have before us. And we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next up is caucus. It's time for council to discuss anything into the agenda. Do we have anything tonight?
Mr. President.
Mr. Marmy?
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple things. First of all, there were meeting minutes that were sent out, amended. Those are not going to end up being acted upon. So there was ordinance 2359 last time. The votes went to where it was perceived that it did not pass, that it failed. But in fact, if you have 6 votes, then it still passes. It just does not pass for an emergency. So with that in mind, we need to kind of clean that up. So I'm going to call a point of order for ordinance 23-59. So the president can indicate what actually that the ordinance would have.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Marmy. Yes, so in the charter of article 4.05, it states that, like Mr. Marmy says, it's a non-emergency, so we needed 6 votes instead of 7, so it'll go in effect 30 days after the mayor signs it, 2359. So
So are you saying 23-59 passed
it
with a
passed,
vote of 6-4?
it passed 6-4, that's correct. Any other discussion, Law Director, you have anything to add?
No, it goes in effect as a non-emergency.
Yeah.
Can we just articulate clearly what the rule is, just for future reference?
Yeah.
We could, Law Director.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure we get that in the record so people understand exactly what
absolutely.
we're doing.
So, 4.05 reads as follows. The vote on the question of a passage of each ordinance, resolution, or motion shall be taken by roll call vote and entered on the journal, and no ordinance, resolution, or motion shall be passed without concurrence of at least 6 council members, except that each emergency ordinance or resolution shall require the affirmative vote of at least 7 council members for its enactment, provided that if such emergency ordinance or resolution shall fail to receive the required 7 votes, but receives the necessary 6 votes for passage as a non-emergency ordinance or resolution, it shall be considered as a non-emergency ordinance or resolution and shall become effective as hereinafter provided by this chapter. Sorry.
Any other discussion? All right, Mr. Marmy, you have something else, are we good? Okay, all right, thank you. Next up is, minutes of the, December 4th meeting, 2023, have a motion.
Second.
Motion by Labuda, second by Hauser, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, that passes 10-0. Appointments, there are none this meeting. Reports of standing committees, finance, service, ways and means without objection will be received and filed. Reports from city officials, city auditor Ryan Bubb, operating report for period ending November 30th, 2023. Brenda Cooper, tax administrative office, income tax revenue reports for the period ending November 30th, 2023 without objection will be received and filed. Communications, Dan Shinman, the Fence Group, DBA, TFG Housing Resource, Terrence Gardens Rehab Project, 85 West Church Street, Newark, Ohio, 43055. Ohio Division of Liquor Control, new liquor application for Midway Tap 2 LLC, 146 Union Street, Newark, Ohio, 43055. Next up is the public hearing, 23-51. Jimmy, would you like to read the public hearing, please?
Ordinance number 23-51 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, and Mr. Neely, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 1725 Mount Vernon Road, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, parcel tax ID number 058-286-716-00.000 and tax ID number 058-286-554-03.000 from that of Newton Township B2 to GC General Commercial District zoning code of the City of Newark, Ohio.
You've heard the reading of 23-51 public hearing. Is anybody here to speak for or against?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath?
Mr. President, planning on making an amendment to this ordinance. When it is read again, it currently says that the property is in Newton Township, when in fact it is in Newark Township. It's a typo. So I'll be requesting an amendment during the normal reading of that after this public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else speak for or against this? Read.
Ordinance number 23-51 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, and Mr. Neely, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 1725 Mount Vernon Road, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, parcel tax ID number 058-286-716-00.000 and tax ID number 058-286-554-03.000 from that of Newton Township B2 to GC General Commercial District zoning code of the City of Newark, Ohio.
You've heard the reading of 23-51. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath?
make a motion to adopt 23-51.
Second. Got a motion by Mr. Rath to adopt, second by Mr. Barker.
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath?
I'd like to make a motion to amend 23-51 to 23-51A, which should be in your package. Changing the verbiage from Newton Township to Newark Township.
Second. Okay, we got a motion to amend 23-51 to 23-51A by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Barker. Do we have any discussion? Janine, please call the roll.
Ms. Blind? Oh,
Yes.
Mr. Howell.
Mr. Hauser, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Ms. Neely? Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind? Yes. Mr. Shu?
Yes.
So the amendment has passed 10-0. So yeah, the amendment 23-51A is passed, and then that's passed 10-0. Oh, yeah.
That,
Now we got,
would you like to call the
Yeah,
roll?
no, yeah.
23-1
yeah.
as
Call for,
amended.
yes, please call for the roll. For the,
Oh, that was just for the amendment?
yeah, that's adopted, yeah.
Okay. Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind? Yes. Mr. Shu?
23-51A is passed. Next up is another public hearing. It's 23-52.
Ordinance number 23-52 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, and Mr. Neely. An ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 1572 LeMay Avenue and 1573 LeMay Avenue, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio. Parcel tax ID number 096-288-666-00.000 and parcel tax ID number 096-288534-00.000 from that of Newark Township to single-family residence RM, medium density zoning district, zoning code of the City of Newark, Ohio.
You've heard the reading of 23-52. Is anybody going to speak for or against the public hearing? Anybody here to speak for or against? Okay, Jim, please read it again.
Ordinance number 23-52 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, and Mr. Neely. An ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 1572 LeMay Avenue and 1573 LeMay Avenue, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, parcel tax ID number 096-288-666-00.000 and parcel tax ID number 096-288534-00.000 from that of Newark Township, the single-family residence RM, medium density zoning district, zoning code of the City of Newark, Ohio.
You've heard the reading of 23-52. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 23-52.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Barker. Do we have any discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath?
this, along with the previous legislation, I should have said, but this legislation has been recommended by the planning commission, so I would encourage everybody to support it.
Anybody else? Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang? Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind? Yes. Mr. Shu?
Yes.
23-52 has been adopted 10-0. Next up is comments from citizens. This is your opportunity to speak. Do we have anybody tonight? You get a second opportunity later on. Nobody? Okay, next up is ordinance on the second reading.
Ordinance number 23-55 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Shu, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, Mr. Neely, Mr. Rath, and Mr. Labutus. An ordinance to make an appropriation for the expenditures of the City of Newark, Ohio during the year ending December 31st, 2024.
You've heard the reading of 23-55. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr.
I
Marmy?
make a motion to adopt ordinance 23-55.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy to adopt, second by Mr. Lang. Do we have any discussion?
Mr. President.
Mr. Marmy?
Thank you, Mr. President. Since the time in which we prepared the budget, there's a couple of things that need to be amended, just because we found some areas that we need to make sure that they're corrected. So at this time, I would like to offer an amendment to remove 65,000 from Parks and Cemetery, temporary services. That's account 100.432-5230 with a new budget amount of $110,000. We'd also like to add $65,000 to Services General, account 100.121-5238, new budget amount of $465,000. Remove 100,000 from service, other intra-government billings, account 100.121-5289.300, new budget amount of 75,000. And add 100,000 to service general, account 100.121-5238, new budget amount of 565,000.
Second that motion.
Okay. Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Marmy to amend and a second by Mr. Lang. Any other discussion? Janine, please call a roll for the amendment.
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Neely.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes.
Mr. Ryan. Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind.
Yes.
Mr. Shute.
Yes.
The amendment has passed 10-0. Janine, will you please call the roll for the?
Mr. President.
Oh,
Yeah.
so.
I just want to comment, I really appreciate the auditor's office and what they do as far as getting all the information together. Not only for myself, but for all of council, the mayor and his what he does to prepare for the budget and make sure of the priorities and kind of the flavor of what direction. And all the departments and department heads, I mean, they put the numbers together for their own individual areas. The HR department puts together, their portion of the benefits for the auditor's office. So it's a team effort, a collaborative effort, and it's not an easy effort. And I just really do appreciate all the work that went into it. I think we have a solid budget. It's a snapshot in time. And our budget gets amended almost every other week. But it is a starting point. And so I think it's solid, and I appreciate want to thank everybody for their help with it.
Mr. Lang.
Yeah, thank you. I want to second what Doug said. I would also like to add, I think it's really amazing that we've got this going through as a non-emergency. We have to use Rule 11. We're doing it on time. I don't know when the last time was we did that. So I think that's a really great testament to everybody's hard work and team collaboration on this. So I wanted to give everybody a hand on that. So thank you.
Everybody else? Okay. You need to call a roll for the adoption.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Neely.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind.
Yes.
Mr. Shute.
Yes.
23-55 passes 10-0. Up next is 23-56.
Ordinance number 23-56 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Shute, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, Mr. Neely, Mr. Rath, and Mr. Labutus. An ordinance to make an appropriation for the expenditures of the city of Newark, Ohio during the year ending December 31st, 2024.
You've heard the reading of 23-56. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy?
make a motion to adopt ordinance 23-56.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Lang. Do we have any discussion? Janine, please call a roll.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Neely.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind.
Yes.
Mr. Shute.
Yes.
23-56 passes 10-0. Up next is 23-57.
Ordinance number 23-57 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Shute, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, Mr. Labutus, Mr. Rath, and Mr. Neely. An ordinance to make an appropriation for the expenditures of the city of Newark, Ohio during the year ending December 31st, 2024.
You've heard the reading of 23-57. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr.
make
Marmy?
a motion to adopt ordinance 23-57.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Lang. Do we have any discussion? Janine, please call a roll.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Neely.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind.
Yes.
Mr. Shute.
Yes.
23-57 passes 10-0. Next up is ordinance on the first reading, 23-60.
Ordinance number 23-60 by Ms. Blind, Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, and Mr. Neely. An ordinance amending chapter 890 of the codified ordinances of the city of Newark, Ohio regarding the levying and collection of municipal income taxes.
23-60 will be held until our next meeting, which will be January 2nd. Next up is resolutions on the second reading, 23-96.
Resolution number 23-96 by Mr. Shute, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, Mr. Neely, and Mr. Labutus. A resolution authorizing and directing the Director of Public Service of the City of Newark, Ohio to enter into an agreement with the Licking County Commissioners, Licking Valley Water District to supply potable water to the village of Hanover, Hanover Township, and Madison Township.
You've heard the reading of 23-96. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath?
make a motion to adopt 23-96.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Barker. Do we have any discussion? Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes,
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind? Yes. Mr. Shute?
Yes.
23-96 passes 10-0. Up next is 23-97.
Resolution number 23-97 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Mr. Shute, Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, Mr. Neely, and Mr. Labutus. A resolution authorizing and directing the Director of Public Service to advertise for bids and enter into contract for certain essential supplies for various departments of the City of Newark, Ohio for 2024.
You've heard the reading of 23-97. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 23-97.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Barker. Do we have any discussion? Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes,
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind? Yes. Mr. Shute?
Yes.
23-97 passes 10-0. Up next is resolution on the first reading, 23-98.
Resolution number 23-98 expedite by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, Mr. Rath, and Mr. Neely. A resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
You've heard the reading of 23-98. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr.
make
Marmy?
a motion to waive the 2-day reading rule in resolution 23-98.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Lang to waive the 2-day reading rule. Do we have any discussion? Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
yes,
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind? Yes. Mr. Shute?
Yes. 2-day reading rule is passed. Mr. Marmy?
Thank you, Mr. President. Make a motion to adopt resolution 23-98.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Lang to adopt resolution 23-98. Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
yes,
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind? Yes. Mr. Shute?
Yes.
23-98 passed 10-0. Next up is 23-99.
Resolution number 23-99 by Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, Mr. Rath, and Mr. Neely. A resolution authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Newark to prepare and submit applications to the Ohio Department of Development for the Brightening Ohio Communities Grant Program.
23-99 will be held on.
Mr. President?
Whoops, Mr. Marmy.
I make a motion to waive the 2-day reading rule on 23-99.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Lang to waive the 2-day reading rule. Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
yes,
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind? Yes. Mr. Shute?
Yes.
2-day reading rule passed 10-0. Janine, like, or Mr. Marmy? what do you
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Make a motion to adopt 23-99.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy to adopt, second by Mr. Lang. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Marmy.
Thank you, Mr. President. This actually, the city, is not wishing to proceed with this. So therefore, I brought it to the table so we can just clean it up. I urge everybody to vote opposed to this. So then it goes down because the city is not going to go forward with, submitting the grant application.
Any other questions? Mr. Hauser?
Could you give any description as to why we're not following up on that? I guess I'm just curious.
I was informed by, Barbara that the city is not moving forward to apply for this funding. I don't know if there was more to it.
Mr. Barker.
Yeah, I can comment on that, because she emailed me, because I had originally brought this to her asking if we could. And she emailed me back and said that we don't qualify after looking into it further.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
You can change it.
No, sorry about that.
Mr. Labutus?
No.
Mr. Lang?
No.
Mr. Marmy?
No.
Mr. Neely?
No.
Mr. Rath?
no,
Mr. Ryan?
No.
Mr. Barker?
No.
Ms. Blind,
No.
Mr. Shute.
No. 23-99 has failed 10-0. Next up is 23-100.
Resolution number 23-100 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, Mr. Rath, and Mr. Neely. A resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
23-100 will be held until our next meeting, January 2nd. And our last one for the night and for the year is 23-101.
Resolution number 23-101 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Shute, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Neely. A resolution authorizing the conveyance of certain real property now owned by the city of Newark, Ohio to Newark Development Partners as its agent for industrial, commercial, distribution, and research.
23-101 will be held until our next meeting, January 2nd. Now we're up to comments from citizens. Does anybody have anything tonight? Okay, next up is city officials. Do we have any city officials tonight? Mr. Bell?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Congratulations again on the Cleveland Browns win yesterday.
Yes, sir.
I'm with you on that. Just a few items. Want to thank all of you for passing the budgets. It's been a great year working with you. Look forward to 2024. Wish all of you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Spencer, thank you. Great job. Stay involved. You get great insight to the city, and gonna miss having you, but I know we'll be in touch and I expect to see you back. So with that, Mr. Cost, welcome. Anything my office can do to help you with the transition, we're more than happy to. So that being said, thanks again. Thank you.
Mr. Model?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. For the record, and those who may be watching remotely, my name is Mark Motter. I'm the Community and Economic Development Director for the City of Newark. I just wanted to take a few minutes to give you an update on a brownfield that's been being worked upon for quite a few years here in the city. It's located at 217 South 21st Street. To help you hone in on that, if you know where 21st Street crosses the railroad tracks, it's the second property to the south. You may recall about a year ago, we had the US EPA in here removing over 500 barrels, 55-gallon barrels and drums of toxic, hazardous, volatile materials. And we were successful in working with the Ohio EPA, ultimately the US EPA. They sent in a rapid response team to remove those drums and properly dispose of them. That was a huge win. It was a huge safety win for the city of Newark and the citizens. That being said, the building that those barrels were being stored in was also experiencing deterioration. The roof was collapsing, some of the walls were starting to collapse and so forth. And at the same time, we had homeless people going in there on a regular basis, no matter with our best efforts to try to keep them out, to keep them protected, they still were getting there. So that brings us to about 2 weeks ago. We finally were able, with the cooperation of Director Hickman's Department of Property Maintenance and Joe Paul, who heads that up, and myself, we all worked together to do a demolition. The funds to pay for the demolition came from the Property Maintenance Division. If you haven't been by it, go by it. The building is gone. We have a safe site. We did keep the concrete slab in place that was underneath the structure for various reasons. One is just kind of maintenance of the property until we figure out what the next steps are. The next steps actually is we have a phase 2 update going on the property right now to see exactly what is the condition of the contaminants that still reside below ground. We have a contaminated water plume, and we're getting an update on the condition of that. So hopefully we can then move forward on a remediation process. And so we're excited to get that done as well in the future. But another big win, we have a safe property. City does not own the property, it's still owned by a local resident. But we have been able to do things with their permission to get access agreements, to do work on the property, continue to do environmental work on the property. And I just want to let council know, if you drive by, you're going to see a nice, clean, safe site, and happy to report that to you. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Any other city officials? The law director?
Thank you. Spencer, it has been an honor and privilege getting to know you and working with you. Thank you for all that you've done for the city that I know you will continue to do. We'll be surprised to see you back someday, but thank you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everybody, and we'll see you next year. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
I would echo the same words, Spencer. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you on council. And as everyone has said, I don't think you're going to be hidden away somewhere. So you're active in the community. We appreciate that. And Bill, welcome. We look forward to working with you next year. Expound briefly on what our finance chair said about the budget. It is night and day versus 12 years ago. And I would say when we come in here, but I'm going to talk just one quick second about at the department level. We've educated the departments a lot. The general fund is an interesting critter that I would say our former auditor, Steve Johnson, said, everybody dumps money into a 55-gallon bucket, and then which part is yours? And that's, because it's all just a big mishmash. So it's quite different than the private sector, but we have worked hard with the departments throughout the year. And now we do not have safeguards that we had to have in place 12 years ago to protect that carryover money. So the last 2 months of the year were a little hectic around here. 12 years ago, we shut off credit cards. We did a whole lot of things because you're projecting your carryover. That's helping balance your next year's budget, but you've got to hold on to it. You can't spend it all at the end of the year. So anyways, kudos. And I thank all my departments and all my department heads. And they just do an outstanding job. And I would compare us to just about anybody for a budget that we deal with in the size city. They just do a phenomenal job and take some real ownership on it. So Brenda slipped out as our tax administrator. She is on vacation this week, but came in for that one piece of legislation tonight that of course didn't have to speak to. But I was going to and will give her kudos. Her and her team did a phenomenal job of collecting income tax this year. They kind of hide out in the corner since a lot of their information is pretty private and can't be discussed because it's all personal information, but they do a wonderful job and process an amazing amount of tax returns. And we have very nice collections this year, and we thank them for all the hard work they do in many ways. With that, I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. It's been a great year for everyone. We look forward to another one, but I'm going to stress to everyone that goes outside of this group too, please be safe. Party and have fun, but please be safe and do not drink and drive and think of designated drivers across our community because God forbid that the problem you have may become someone else's problem also. So think beyond that and do it respectfully. With that, I'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Hauser.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank Councilman Barker for all his service on council. It's a pleasure. I guess everyone has said here, I'm sure we'll see you back, and that's why I thank you for that. And Bill, I just want to welcome you to council too. It's going to be great to work with you. And that I'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Labutus.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to thank Spencer for your exemplary service and commitment to excellence here on council. You had a huge impact on our community before you were here. You had a huge impact while you were here. I know you're continuing to do that as well. So that, wish you all the best. But sure will be alive as well. Bill, welcome back to council. Good to see you as always. Wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Mr. Labutus. Mr. Lang.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Bill, welcome. Looking forward to working with you next year. Spencer, thanks for your service. I think everybody agree we're all here to serve our community, and you don't do this job because of what it pays. It's definitely a dedication of service. I appreciate your service and wish you well, and wish everybody a happy holidays. And with that, I'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Lang. Mr. Marmy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Typically, the first thing I say when it's my turn is to call a finance committee meeting. We are not going to have a finance committee meeting on January the 2nd. We're actually trying not to have any committee meetings that night, so make sure you pay attention to that. Spencer, definitely want to say thank you. You do a lot of behind the scenes. A lot of things that you do, folks don't even know that you do. And that's just a testament of the type of person that you are. I appreciate everything that you have done for the city. I look forward to what you continue to do. You are involved in other things that you'll continue doing. And then who knows what's next after that even. But I'm sure that you're going to stay involved. You love Newark, that's apparent. And I just appreciate that passion that you have to provide service to the citizens. And the last thing, I got to make Mr. Hauser feel good in the words of Frosty. What is it? Happy birthday. right? Since he said something wrong today, I thought I'd say something. A Merry Christmas to everyone and Happy New Year. So I hope everybody enjoys their holidays. And I love being around family. It's just, it really makes you feel good. And I'm blessed to have my family around me during the holidays. And I hope all of you have a joyous holiday with your families also. With that pass.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Mr. Neely. Thank you, Mr. President. I will as well. I will thank Spencer for his service. At the election, actually, I was at a watch meeting and I came across a nice lady from down Ward 1 and she said, she saw you'd lost, she actually cried. So that really speaks to your involvement in the city. And I thank you for that. Welcome, Mr. Cost, council. And just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So that will pass. Thank you, Mr. Rack.
Thank you. I wanted to say, Spencer, thank you for all that you've done and your dedication. Obviously, you're very committed to the city of Newark. And while you may not be on council tomorrow, there's no doubt in my mind that you'll continue to be involved with the city in one way, shape, or form. Mr. Cost, welcome back to council. I enjoyed serving with you in the past, and I'm sure I will in the future as well. I'll say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, or Happy Birthday, whichever it happens to be. And with that, I'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, Spencer, thank you. It's been an honor, coming in as a newbie, absorbing everything I can. And, your leadership is bar none. So I want you to know that, I think you have great leadership skills and I think you know that, so keep up with it. I know we'll see you around. It's been an honor. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'll pass.
Thank you. Ms. Swan.
Yeah, thank you. First, Spencer, thank you. I've been learning and watching this to reflect what he had said, and thank you. I appreciate you very much. And Mr. Costa, I don't know you well, but it seems like I've known you for a long time in different ways in your involvement as well. So glad to see you back in here. I'd like to thank Director Motter. The citizens have been watching what you've been doing down there. When I was knocking on doors in the area recently, they said, so what's going on? We heard about and so it was really nice to be able to put the truth out there of what you and everyone else have been doing to clean that up. And that's a big deal. And the people are starting to realize just what a close call it was. And how you made a big difference. And I thank you for that. And I want to thank the Parks Department for cleaning up some heavily vandalized materials. A bridge had to be taken out, a wooden bridge, and some benches that had been heavily vandalized. And so I'm grateful for their intervention to get that out of there. It's sad, but at the same time, it needed to happen. So I'm thanking Ms. Hadley for that. And I'm grateful for the NPD's intervention in our area. It's, always there. And so we appreciate them. And lastly, I'd like to thank Genesee and Wyoming Railroads for our meeting this past week. And we were able to talk about some difficult topics. The Raccoon Creek Bridge was one. And our overpasses between 2nd and 6th, that condition and the change that needs to come to them, not just for optics, but for, to expand business opportunities in South Newark and as well as relating to the downtown area. And I'm grateful for them because it was a really good problem solving time and they were very positive. And I'm excited to take that next step to see some of these great changes take place. So thanks again to them. And thanks again for the mayor and his vision and to the great citizens who've been so helpful this year. And they've gone above and beyond as well as you. Thank you. Sir.
Thank you. Mr. Shute.
Thank you, Mr. President. The unfortunate thing about being where I am on the pecking order is that I don't have anything new to say. I can't even really put a different spin on it. I want to thank Spencer for his service, council, welcome Bill, and wish everyone very happy holidays and safe and happy new year. We'll see you next year. Thank you. With that, I pass.
Thank you. I want to remind everybody that January the 13th is the Martin Luther King breakfast. If you want to sponsor a table or need tickets, let me know. I want to let everybody know on December the 27th at 4:30, here in council chambers is going to be the swearing in ceremony. Want to do it before the first, so we'll do all three at large, myself, the law director, the mayor, and the auditor. So that'll be at 4:30 on December 27th. So I don't know, we may do it live too. People who can't come, so we'll see. Spencer, I want to thank you for your service. I don't know if you guys remember, some of us were here during the pandemic and we had to do everything on Zoom. And Spencer was the guy that handled all that, and I really appreciate you doing all that, and we have to go back because I'm gonna be calling you, so. Hopefully we don't, but I appreciate your service. Being a council person is more than just coming to meetings like Mr. Marmy and some others have said. It's being in the community, doing things, and you did that, and appreciate your service, and hopefully you'll be back soon. Welcome, Mr. Koss. You'll be sitting right here beside me, so I keep my eye on you. So this is where you'll be sitting. So look forward to working with you. Now I'll turn it over to Mr. Barker.
Thank you, Mr. President, fellow members of council. I appreciate all your kind words. The administration, Mayor, Law Director, thank you. The past 4 years have been an adventure. It's one that I would not say I regret at all. And we're back. Bill, congratulations. I look forward to calling you when I've got a problem.
I might call you when we have IT problems.
Well, I've trained Councilman Hauser as long as he hits the yes button. No, vice. You never know. So I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year, and best of luck in 2024 and beyond. With that, Mr. President, I pass.
Thank you. Our next meeting will be January the 2nd, 2024. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Labuda, second by Mr. Hauser. All in favor say aye. Aye. Same sign.